This is my abandoned Land Rover, and within 7 days, I'm gonna turn it into a luxury camper. It also happens to be the world's most unreliable car, which I bought because I want to prove it's not that bad by driving it across the entire US completely off-road. I've already got the car running and did some much needed maintenance, but now I need to get it ready for its big trip. Before we go building out the interior though, this old girl needs some modification. So first up, we're gonna get rid of this grimy old front bumper. Getting the front bumper off seems simple since there's only a few bolts holding it on, but because it's so heavy, it isn't the most straightforward. Whoa! And even with it all off, I did miss a few wires.
Oh, there's a wire.
Oh, wire. Get the wire, I'll hold it. But with it off, we can throw it to the side. Or in our case, do this. I wish you could have seen what just happened. Will just completely dropped the bumper on his leg. Ow. Shall we continue? So the new bumper has this piece, which is not attached. So I'm gonna attach it now with this brand new hardware. All of this stuff, by the way, was sent to us by Lucky 8 and Terra Firma, the best in Land Rover parts. The much nicer new bumper came in 2 pieces, but putting it together isn't difficult at all. What is difficult is lifting it into place and bolting it on because it's a lot heavier than the original one. Bumper installed. Now it's time for the rock sliders. Since this is gonna be driving across the country off-road, this is a necessity for protecting the truck, and it also just looks really cool. In order to put them on, we need to take off the original plastic piece that goes there, which requires getting out a ton of plastic clips that eject themselves at Mach 1.
Oh, thing exploded.
But with those out, we can swap out the old plastic for the new metal. These are gonna be the anchor points for the rock slider to make sure it's super secure. This is a bit of a slow and tedious process, which we then need to repeat again over on the other side. But with that finished, we can move on to the next part. Our rear bumper is in shambles. It's cracked, repaired with duct tape, and is probably gonna fall off the car at any moment. So we're gonna replace it. First, we just need to loosen the 2 bolts holding it on, which is easier said than done. And then we just need to take it off the car, which is also seemingly easier said than done.
Oh, wires.
But with it done, we can install the new bumper. Now, like all the other parts, this one is crazy heavy, so we need to come up with a strategy to get it mounted.
This is the proper method of bench pressing a bumper onto your bad Land Rover.
3 and 4. With it loosely held in place, very sketchy by the way, I can quickly zip it on with the impact and then start to install our next part, which is a wide body kit.
Y'all wanna see something fun?
Oh my god. Why can't I do it? Oh yeah. Oh, look at the amount of dust that's been unveiled. With the old plastic removed, all we need to do is line up the new wide body and drill it into place, which was going very smoothly up until it wasn't. Oh my god. It's so annoying. After scratching up the car a little bit, we can continue on, ripping off the old plastics and replacing them with the much nicer ones. As this is going on, our friends at Boston Mobile Tire arrived to help us with the next portion of the modification process, which is mounting our brand new Nokian tires on our brand new Terra Firma wheels. When I had the idea for this project, there was only one tire company I wanted to work with, and that was Nokian. These things are gonna be perfect for the serious off-roading this car is gonna be doing, and they look a lot more aggressive than the tires that are currently on the car. But you'll have to wait to see them on because we still have a lot to do in order to transform this thing. Now, because we have 3 people going on this trip, all sleeping in the car, we need as much space as possible to store things. So we're putting together this front runner roof rack. And by we, I mean mostly the other guy. With it fully assembled, they can pick it up and carefully slide it onto the roof where we can start to properly mount it down. I'm liking my job right now where I don't have to do much. Look at this.
More hype, gentlemen.
Whoa!
Hold on.
The roof rack is on, and it's very sturdy. We have a special surprise coming for it though, but it's not here yet. So in the meantime, we have some more stuff we gotta do to the car. But it's really coming together pretty well, honestly. Now this car already has a lift kit on it. However, it's an old lift kit and it's not lifted enough. So we're gonna lift it to the max. This is terra firma suspension, terra firma shocks. Time to take it off. Also, I learned something rather sketchy. Those I haven't touched yet. So those are just hand tight on there, and I've been driving around
From when
like
we did
that.
the brakes, bro. Not great.
Lovely. Luckily, that's not gonna be a problem soon. As you can see, the old suspension is crusty, so it needs to go. Now this isn't the most straightforward process because the Land Rover is already on some lifted suspension, which means getting it out is a little tricky. We need to first make sure everything is unbolted, but then we need to compress the spring as much as possible to try and wiggle it out. Even with it compressed though, we're struggling to get it out, so we decided to cut off the car's sway bar.
Do a new suspension. We're also doing a sway bar delete for better suspension articulation, which now I'll explain in post.
That's a lie. I'll actually explain in post. Now typically, I wouldn't recommend this, but in our case, it's actually kind of helpful. Sway bars connect both sides of the car together so that when you turn, the body of the car doesn't roll too much to one side. But in our case, doing lots of off-roading, not having the sway bar allows the suspension to have more flexibility, making it easier to get over obstacles. This does, however, mean that the car will have a tendency to flip easier. So there are definitely pros and cons. With the sway bar off though, it's way easier to get the spring out, and then we just need to install the new one plus the new shock, and that corner of the car is good to go. The back is a little easier because the shock isn't sitting inside the spring. We do still need to compress the spring, but we can keep our rear sway bar intact this time. Now we just need to repeat the process over on the other side of the car and finally install our new wheels and tires. I'm super excited to see how this thing looks. While I struggle to put this tire on, I want to tell you about something that will help you not struggle, and that's Auto Tempest. Searching for cars to buy can be the biggest pain, just like trying to lift these super heavy wheels. But it doesn't have to be that bad. Auto Tempest takes all the listings from every site and brings them to one place, meaning you just need to enter the car you want and you're seeing everything. No more wasting your time going to every site in the universe. My favorite thing to do is to look up Porsches and sort by cheapest because I desperately want a GT3, but I don't have the money for it. One day though, when the right car comes up on Auto Tempest, it'll be mine. So if you don't use Auto Tempest, get to the site right now. Trust me, you'll thank me. The link is down in the description. It's how I find every one of my cars. Now, let's see how this Land Rover looks. We have the new lift kit on, we have the new wheels and tires on, but it seems like there may be a problem. And that problem is the clearance on the front particularly looks a little close. We won't know until we put it on the ground, but that could be a problem.
Here, you stand right here and watch. I'll do it.
I'll watch. Oh, it's looking okay. It looks fine.
Oh yeah, wait, really fine.
That's money, boys. I don't know.
That looks so mean. This looks unreal. It looks so good.
It settled in like perfectly.
Just don't show them the fifth wheel yet.
Yeah, there is a wheel on the back we gotta change out for our spare, which I'm not sure if it'll fit yet, but honestly, that looks super cool. I like the whole black on black color scheme we got going on. And these meaty tires should be oh so perfect off-road. With all the wheels on, plus our spare, which we hopefully won't need, we can put on something I've been so hyped to install, and that's our Yakima roof tent. Every time I see someone with a Yakima roof tent, I get super jealous, because it looks cool, and I want one. And now I finally have one. And luckily for me, and Will, who's having to hold it above his head, it's really quick and easy to install. And with it installed, I had to pull it outside to check it out. Look at that. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. We're not even done yet. That looks amazing. We got a little distracted, but we still have a lot to do. Now for those who saw the first episode, you should go watch it now if you haven't. You may remember we had Justin here helping us, a Land Rover wizard who owns Lucky 8 Off-Road. Now he told us something I almost forgot about. And that's a fun fact about Land Rover drive shafts. You see, sometimes these drive shafts decide they no longer want to be part of the car anymore, so they disconnect at high speed, spin around violently, and then blow a giant hole in your transmission. This sounds horrible, so I'm just gonna install an upgraded one just to be safe. The inside of our Land Rover is pretty terrible. Right now, we're bringing 3 people on the trip. Myself, Will behind the camera, and Marcus, who's also behind the camera. So, we need to be able to sleep 3 people. Now, we obviously have the roof tent, but honestly, we can't fit 3 people in the roof tent, so I'm gonna build a sleeping quarters with 0 experience. And the interior of this car right now is, well, it's kind of gross and terrible and scary and spider infested, and it sat under a tree for a long time, and I don't even like being in here much.
We set out to make it luxurious.
Yeah.
So this part's gonna be the luxurious part for whoever is lucky. We'll have a competition every day where we fight. And the winner can sleep in this small area.
I don't know why I put luxurious there in the title, because I don't know how to make anything, but I'm gonna try my best to make it luxurious. First step is I gotta get these rear seats out. We're gonna leave 1 seat so Marcus can have a place to sit, but we also need to take these seats out so the bed will fit. We gotta compromise here. Lose 2 seats, gain a bed. Getting the rear seats out was a breeze, but making the bed isn't seeming easy. You see, I have a tendency to take on things that I have no idea how to do. And while I have built a few things out of wood back in the day, it's been a while, and I'm very rusty. But the only way to learn is to try. So I'm having to measure, cut, measure again because I made a little mistake. Embarrassingly, it turns out I was measuring with the wrong part of the ruler. Cut some more and assemble the bed. Now the bed does have a slight problem. You see, if the passenger side is at a normal seating position, the bed is just too short to sleep anyone. So I need to get creative. And that's why I built the patent-pending door hinge bed system. Now these door hinges hopefully can hold a human's weight, but honestly I'm not totally sure. But if they do work the way I want them to, we can extend the bed several inches when the passenger seat is slid all the way forward, which should allow a normal human being to sleep on the bed.
Alright, well, okay.
Not that bad. We need to make more supports though.
Yeah, I can tell.
This thing does not feel perfectly.
Get off it.
Now this seems like it worked, but like I said, we need more supports. Otherwise, this bed is definitely gonna break. So back to measuring and cutting I go. And once fully supported, Will can carpet the entire thing to make it look a lot nicer. We have put a mattress pad on top of this, and let me tell you, it's quite cozy. I'll be honest with you, but it's a little long, so I'm gonna give it a little trim with a razor blade. Cutting this out actually turned out to be a massive pain, but once done, Will decided to decorate a bit. While I've been working on a few other things, Will has been decking out our interior. So I'm gonna get the live reaction, my live reaction, and your live reaction to the job that Will's done with our inside bed system. Now obviously the woodworking part was not our strong suit, but you know what, the interior decorating might be. We're very far from being experts. Will, are you ready? Oh my God,
I'm sitting in the lap of luxury right
that looks awesome. That's crazy.
I'm sitting in the lap of luxury.
Let me try that thing out.
Bro, in a minute.
That's coming together pretty well. We still got a lot to do, but Will, congratulations on your bed making.
My first house, 2004 Discovery.
Now, all good off-road cars need a winch, especially when I'm the one driving, because there's a high chance I'll get stuck and need it. This winch bolts right to the front bumper, and then the wires simply go up to the battery. But we have a little bit of a problem. See, the original grille simply does not fit with the winch in place, but instead of just throwing it out, which is something I would have used to do, Will decided to customize it a bit.
This is how you make a grill fit.
After quite a lot of cutting, Will went to test fit his new creation.
Coincidentally, I gotta do. Oh, you know what, dude? Jackson, come look at this. Dude, I'm kind of the guy.
With that all done, we can now add one more front accessory, and that's a light bar. Going off-road means no street lights, and I don't trust this Land Rover's old headlights. So I'm installing a super simple light bar to the front bumper. Now, I don't really know how to wire anything, But it turns out these are pretty simple. You just run some leads to the battery, just like the winch, which was made really easy because of Will's new grill, and then run a switch into the cabin, and boom, let there be light. And we have light, ladies and gentlemen. We are now getting one step closer to taking this car across the entire country off-road. Light was something I sort of thought about last minute, but it will be important, I'm sure. Hello. From our luxury camper that is finished. I know, last time you saw it, you were probably wondering, how is this gonna be a luxury camper? Well, I'm about to show you the luxury camper, and you are gonna be wildly impressed. At least I think so. We are out here at a campsite. We've got, first off, a nice fire blazing, look at that. We've got the stove going, all the food cooking. And then, of course, look at this. We've got the roof tent on top. This sleeps 3 full-size adults, if you can believe it. Will is in here at the moment editing a video. Let me show you. We got Will in here on Wi-Fi with lights.
Luxury camping
This
at its
bed
finest.
that we created is somehow functioning. And on top of that, we even have a full-size battery pack system from our friends at Anchor who are feeding us direct power to the laptop, which is pretty sweet. So, we got Will over here underneath, of course. There is storage that is not being used very well at the moment, but you can see down there. And then we even have the roof tent up top that sleeps 2 people from Yakima. This roof tent, honestly, the most comfortable thing I've ever slept in. And it has built-in skylights in the rain protector, so even if it's raining, you can see up. Up in the roof tent, you can sleep another 2, and look at this. There's even a skylight up here. That is luxury. We're going across the country all off-road, and I'm not even sure if we can do it. You'll want to see it. Subscribe right now.